Financial education is a program which can be offered to people, teaching them principles of managing money and simplifying financial concepts in a manner that will be beneficial to people who are getting the knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, when should it start in any individual's life, financial education, financial literacy?
Ideally, it needs to start as early as possible in one's life, especially at the school level, because many of us didn't get the exposure of being taught on how to manage money. So it was more of a trial and error. So you swim, you try to swim, you drown, and only then you get the lessons. But I think there's a lot of work that's been done, even in South Africa, to incorporate financial literacy in the school's curriculum. Yeah. And All Mutual, as well as other organizations, have engaged the Department of Basic Education, and I believe the department is making a good stride in making sure that our learners at the school level get exposed to financial education.
Have you seen the courses? Have you seen the curriculum for financial literacy within schools?
I have.
What do you think of them?
I certainly think that we've laid a foundation, and I must applaud the Department of Basic Education for the work they're doing there, although there's still scope for improvement. And that's why they cannot do it alone. I think they can partner with financial institutions who are experts in this subject to get financial education to learners.
Yeah, which is important. I mean, I remember when I was at school, there was absolutely no financial education whatsoever. I mean, I matriculated without knowing a thing, and that's a fact. I think matriculated in '92. So, you know, obviously things have changed quite significantly thereafter, which is very promising. It's a good thing.
No, indeed. And again, if you look at it, Leanne, financial education is a significant predictor of financial inclusion. Consequently, financial inclusion has the potential and ability to alleviate poverty and to address some of the inequalities that we have in our economy, because then it is at that very grassroots level that you are able to engage and interact with communities and consumers who come from previously disadvantaged communities.
Let's not entirely blame it on the school system, though. Let's talk about what should happen at home, because I mean, I know I'm to blame as well. I mean, look, my kids are still very, very young, but are they? I mean, my eldest is turning 4 and the youngest is 1, so let's leave her out the equation. But you know, my kids do think that money grows on trees, but it doesn't, and there is the reality that, you know, you've got to teach your children the value of things. But how do we do that in the home environment?
I think we need to start teaching our young ones with simple things. I mean, if you give your daughter pocket money, you need to observe how they actually use it. But then it also starts with us as parents, and because we have to lead from the front. We cannot be purporting to be teaching our children, you know, how to manage money when we're struggling as well. Again, if you look at the stats in South Africa, which are quite concerning, where you have your debt-to-income ratio, which is staggering between 75 and 78%, which means we as South Africans spend about 78% of our disposable income to service debt. So if we're really talking debt, South Africa is really in intensive care.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, when you look at some other African countries, the entrepreneurs that come from the African continent are amazing. And yet when you look at South Africa, I'm not sure we actually notch up to some of our African counterparts. Is this a wrong statement coming from me? Or if you look at it like that, you know, is there some truth in that?
I'll be neutral on that one, because I, notwithstanding the fact that there are organizations that are doing their bit to upskill some of those entrepreneurs. But I'm glad you actually touched on the issue of entrepreneur, because I think if we're talking about why financial education is so key to Africa's growth, remember that Africa relies on agriculture. And there are some studies that have shown that risk, as opposed to lack of capital, have actually been driving lack of investment, simply because farmers didn't see the value of insurance. And now only once they were taught, then they started capitalizing their business, which is key, because when farmers start employing, you're actually absorbing people who are unemployed. And we know in South Africa we have a challenge with unskilled labor. Yeah. So in doing that, you're encouraging farmers to also employ, you're alleviating poverty, you are solving the problems around unemployment as well.
All right, John, thank you very much for talking to us. John Manyike is a financial education economist talking to us about financial literacy within our country. My worry is we're struggling to get our basic education system right. Never mind financial literacy. I think that'll take a lot more work to get right as well.